tuned in to StarCHaser Central, a podcast about Charles Hamilton, music moments, and everything in between. I'm cold, so I'm wearing a hoodie.
I'm wearing a hoodie just because it is cold, I guess. Do you hate motherfuckers that do that? You know anybody in real life that does that shit where you'll say something, right?
Mhm.
And then they'll say the same exact thing, but then they'll reword it. And it's like, bro, just say it. Just say I'm Mike D. Jackson, by the way. But on a serious note, I know some people like that, and I'm like, bro, just be like, yo, damn, it is cold out here. Oh yeah, for real, it's cold. Like, you don't gotta do all that.
I'm Sick Braxton. And so not necessarily that's annoying, but I think my least annoying thing is when someone says something and I'm not the guy to uh correct your grammar or correct words. But if I know what you're trying to say or what you meant to say, I will say, oh, you meant like this. And so then that person, instead of just being like, yeah, they'll say a synonym of that word. And I'm like, nah, that's not what you were trying to say. I know the word you were trying to say, so why are you switching it up? Like, to prove that you're not wrong. I don't like that. That's my thing.
I don't like that either. Only time I can understand when that happens, let's say the word is just something that's not in your vocabulary and you're not
Mhm.
used to saying it, and then you try to say it and you might have stumbled, and then you switch to another word. That's different.
That's
Before,
fine.
but let's say before you try to say me, but oh, you meant this word? No, I'm talking about like I'm like the it was cold, something like that. I'm like, you know what? That's cool. He stumbled a little bit. It's fine.
Yeah,
It happens to the best of us. So.
yeah, yeah. Never. If you stumble, that's fine. But if you're just purposely doing it just to avoid saying that, I was right, that's annoying. Anyway, how are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. I know we talked about this a while ago. Whenever you guys watch it, it'll be past or whatever. But this is my week that I'm not working, so I've been relaxing. Just I still being active though. It's one of those things where I'm like, since I've been active, I'm like, all right, well, I still gotta get up, go do a walk, still do my exercises, still got my weights at home or whatever. So I'm good, man. It feels good to finally get a break of some sort. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay, man. I'm dealing with a knee injury right now. That's actually keeping me out of basketball, so that's kind of a bummer. Um, but other than that, I'm okay, man. I'm off. I'm in the midst of my thing, so I've been off today and then tomorrow. So I've been off 2 days, so solid.
Got you. What I can say is this. I know it was about 2 weeks ago. I felt like I pulled something, not anything major, but I remember just like my lower back felt crazy, and I'm like, damn, man. I'm like, I wanted to like still do some of my exercise, and I'm like, take it easy, because the thing is, you're not gonna make it any better. So like, and I've been better since that. Whatever, like every other day it got better. Then I'm straight now. I've been straight for a while, so I'm like. Thank God,
Yeah,
because obviously we're getting up there. So in my head, I'm just like, oh no, I can't afford that. This is what they've been warning me about all these years. I was like, it's over. Damn, it's over, bro.
bro. I went to the doctor and she was like, "What you do?" I was like, "Well, I was playing basketball." And she was looking at my file like, "Oh, you're 35." Like, "Yeah, yeah." He's like, "Can't give it up, huh?" I was like, "Nah." Nah. It's like, I don't know what it is about you hoopers. Y'all just will not give it up. Like, yeah, I'd rather just let the field wheels fall off and then yeah, they'll be over.
Yeah, but at the same time, like they tell us if you don't use it, you lose it. So I'd rather use it and lose it at the same time than just lose it all together and be like, man, I wish I had one more game, one more, you know?
hmm So, whatever. I'm hoping that with a couple more weeks rest, it'll be starting to feel a little bit better. So it does feel better from when I initially heard it or whatever. So that's a positive, but it's on and off every day now.
Makes sense. One thing we won't lose is the focus on Charles Hamilton music. That's what we're not going to lose. I'll tell you that.
We're definitely keeping the focus on Charles Hamilton, man. That's just what we do over here at StarCHaser Central. And today we got a good one, man. We got a good tape, a tape that's very recognizable. It is, well, this isn't awkward.
Yes, sir. Well, this isn't awkward, not to be confused with the first awkward tape. And it's crazy too, because when luckily I know a lot about this tape, but anytime like if you try to Google this, well, this isn't awkward, you'll usually say, well, isn't this awkward? Which I understand because of course the first awkward tape it came out and was very popular from the cover, from what it was about. But sometimes I'll just call this awkward too. So if this
Mhm.
makes you feel any better, y'all, call it awkward too. Because some of the other ones are just called awkward three, awkward four, and all that, whatever. So, um, finally, this is the last time I have to say this. This tape came out July 4th, 2010.
Mhm.
Because we've talked about the six pack of tapes. There are five other tapes that came out around this time.
Mhm.
Charles released all at once. But this is the part two to the cinematic hallucinations, you know? So really interesting tape. Um I'll let you go ahead because I don't want to. I'm a little hyped to talk about it. So
Yeah, behind the scenes stuff. You let me know that you were very excited. You had plenty of notes on this. This is a tape that again, it's a sequel, so we always have that. Well, at least me, I had that thing about it's kind of hard following up a sequel. And when it comes to sequels, this might be the hardest one to follow because if you remember earlier this year, we did our March Madness tournament, and Awkward came away with it. We said that Awkward would, Awkward did. Um, Recently, Charles put out a tweet asking if he were to put another vinyl out, what would people like to see? With over 50% of the votes, you'll never guess what it was. It was the first Awkward. So having to follow up a tape like that was very unique and very gave a film vibe to it is a difficult thing. But Charles gives his best efforts here, and we're here to talk about it. Do you remember your first time listening to this tape?
definitely, I know I've said it on the other episodes. Like since there were six tapes that came out that same day, certain ones I remember more than the others. I definitely remember this one. I remember being confused because of the title. Also, the art cover. There's actual, I want to say three art covers that I remember,
Mm.
but I remember just being confused because I'm like, no, I remember the awkward came out. I'm like that big came out. They're like, no, this is this isn't awkward. So, but I remember the art cover that first came out with it. It's like a plate of food. It looked like some fried rice on
Yeah,
there, and I was like, well, I guess, because he's trying to let you know it's not awkward. So he's putting something random there to be like, oh, it's not awkward. Like it's not awkward. It is awkward, but it's not the first awkward.
right.
And then this probably was a typo because I don't know if you ever noticed it on that first cover. Awkward, it's missing a W on there. So I'm like, he might be playing into it saying that it's not awkward, but this is awkward. But I'm like, I think it was just a typo. That's my first thing about it. So I'm like, okay, this is an interesting cover. Remember hearing it, and I remember being like, it's a really good part two.
Mm.
Just it's like you said, very difficult to double back and do a part two to try and even do it justice. But I remember first hearing it, I'm like, yeah, I think he did pretty well for the second go around. How about yourself? You remember?
I do. And this may sound crazy. It may sound sacrilegious. It may sound nuts. I didn't like this tape when I first heard it.
What?
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
Yeah,
Oh, oh,
yeah,
oh.
yeah,
Say that again, please.
yeah. I was because that six pack came out. I was like, okay. I was listening to stuff and like I know I was very excited about this, but and I didn't have the sequel thing that I usually have back then, back in 2010, right? I'm still in college. I'm just like whatever, download, 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 right? So I listen to it, but I do have the I remember what the first Awkward did for me. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of songs there that really resonated with me at the time. And I remember listening to this tape and I was like, I don't, it's okay at best. I was like, I don't know if I want to listen to this again. So, and then as time went on, I do remember, picking up stuff along the way. But again, it's not one of those tapes I actually ran back to like ever, like in full. So this is a great time to revisit it and see if my feelings have changed.
Right? I want to commend you on that because I want to say a lot of times especially when we did our March Madness thing, I remember there's people that said, "Oh, a lot of people have mentioned, especially when they mention awkward one, they normally mention the second one as
Mhm.
well,
Yeah.
especially with L word too. I see that happen a good amount of times. So I want to say this is definitely up there with certain Star Chasers,
Yeah.
certain how they feel about it.
Mhm.
Um, The other covers, I wanted to talk about that real quick. I know
Mm.
there's one with Amy Rose on there. I want to say that was a fan cover. That
Yeah.
one's like a really nice cover. And then there's a one that I think I see on YouTube where it's that picture of Charles where he had his afro and he's like
Hmm.
he's doing that look, but then like they did like a simple cover, you know. But out of those, like we talked about the fried rice one or whatever, but out of those, which ones do you, I guess if we were to rate them, how do you feel about those?
I'm not gonna lie, the fried rice one was always weird to me, bro. And you asked me if I noticed the typo. You know I noticed the typo. I was an English major, so you know I was like, "Hey, yo, dog, I don't know if you know this, but that's not how you spell awkward." But it could be you're right. This isn't awkward because it's spelled incorrectly. So maybe that was the point. Maybe we're giving too much credit. Who knows, right? That's at the bottom though, easily. Um, this one, the one with the Charles Hamilton face, that's cool. That's more of a generic one. Probably one that he could use if it were to make a streaming, if he was able to sell it, because it's more of him versus what I do think is the best cover, which is the one that has Amy on it. Kind of, that's the one I vividly remember the most. I remember when downloading it. Um, maybe not when it first came out, but like later on, that's the cover I remember, and that's the one I associated with the most. So, what about you?
Same exact thing. The Amy Rose cover. It's one of those things where I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense because it's like the first one was Supersonic, and the
Yeah.
second one, hey, put another Sonic character on there, and it would make sense for Amy Rose to be on there. Like it'd be
Mm-hmm.
weird to put Knuckles or Tails on there. So I'm like, Amy Rose, cool. And then especially she makes things super awkward. So
Yes.
poster girl for
Mm-hmm.
awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second one, I would say the one with Charles on there, that would be a better one just to like, for streaming or anything else. If they're like, hey, you can't use this or can't use that, use Charles's face on there.
Yep.
And then yeah, the third one, the original one, the OG one. And of course there's some other ones out there too. So shout out to everyone that's made any type of covers for Awkward too, or any Charles Hamilton music, because I've definitely seen some other ones out there. So I want to make sure I give a shout out to y'all. I don't want y'all thinking, oh, you forgot about us. No, it's a lot of covers, you know. Those are the
Mm-hmm.
top three I remember the most though.
For sure. I didn't ask before, but how would you like to go through this today?
Um, Personally, I know there's a good amount of songs, but there's also a lot of like intros and skits,
Yep.
and I feel like we can go through all of them because
Let's get it.
I feel like with all these this tape specifically, this is a tape you have to listen to top to bottom. Like if you don't, it's like you're really going to miss out on it because anything that's a cinematic hallucinations tape or anything with a story like this, it's like you got to listen to it the whole way through to get it. So
I agree. With that being said, we start off with Dr. Intricacy presents Cinematic Hallucinations, which is just the intro. Very similar to the first awkward. Our narrator introduces us to Connor Harrington's next big film. Kind of goes over what happened on the last one, and then kind of tells us, it was critically acclaimed, even though it got snubbed at the awards, and then kind of gives us an explanation about what we're gonna see in this tape. Um, Now I know this is something that we wanted to talk about. That for sure you definitely want to talk about. So kind of go over what the story is, and then kind of get into the questions we got.
gotcha, understand. So in case for some reason you guys lived under a rock and didn't know what happened with the first awkward, Charles was basically professing his love to a Hollywood crush, which we all know is Rihanna.
Hmm.
He finally built up the courage to talk to her, and he played renditions of her songs to a crowd at the uh, penthouse.
Hmm.
He got to play his renditions of Rihanna songs to her and the crowd at the penthouse and had a great reception of it. But after that, nothing came of it. So basically, he goes back to his regular life. So this is where Awkward 2 comes in.
Hmm.
Charles goes back to his regular life and tries to get back with his ex-girlfriend that he basically broke up with to try and get with this Hollywood crush.
Hmm.
The issue is while he's doing that, his Hollywood crush starts to show interest in Charles, but it's really not her. It's an imposter. But while the actual Hollywood crush is out and about, she's seen with a carbon copy of Charles Hamilton. So there's an imposter that's supposed to be impostering Rihanna, and then
Hmm.
one that's impostering Charles.
Hmm.
So Charles being so confused, he doesn't know what to do, and he's trying to make a decision. Should he stay with his, ex-girlfriend that he's trying to get back with? Should he take another shot at this new girl? But is this really the new girl? This the imposter? It's a lot of things in the air. So it's definitely pretty wild intro, as you can say. But the beat's fire. I'll definitely tell you that.
It's definitely a nice beat. I think some people, I think in the comments, people like, "Yo, are we getting this beat? The instrumental to this?" Um, it's a very interesting story. Again, one of the things that only Charles could really come up with in his mind, right? Now he does say also, and does like a little. It's a smart thing he does here, where he says the same line three times, but like overlapping each other, basically saying that this all happened in three different universes, and you kind of he's basically portraying these are the three different timelines, and then everything shifts right back and shifts back into place. Um, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if you want to get into who we think who is who, but I think we can wait a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
we could wait a little bit for that.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's crazy that you said that with him. He said that he filmed these three different endings and three different dimensions all at once, though.
Mhm.
And the three different dimensions, like he said, basically was monogamy, polygamy, and monkhood.
Yep.
Basically, him having two girls at once, him just having one girl, or him being by himself.
Yep.
So, but we get into that further on, and like I said, we could get into that all that a little bit later. So that's cool.
The tape officially begins with the Bachelor finale.
Oh, real quick,
Oh, yep. Go ahead.
I apologize. So just so you guys know, because we are going to have a playlist for you guys because there's only like one playlist that didn't have everything in order and all the songs together.
Mhm.
So you will see a playlist that has all the songs in categorical order, just so you can actually follow along, because that's important too. You literally can't listen to this out of order either. So go ahead.
Yeah, the Bachelor finale is our first song.
So yeah, this is the actual first song. It's a mellow tune. Charles tried to explain to his ex basically like, yo, yeah, I know what I did. Uh, I kind of screwed up, but I do want you in my life. I definitely want you in my life. But obviously she's not going to trust him because it's like, yo, you basically dipped on me to go with this Hollywood chick that didn't even pay you no mind. Like you played your little songs for her and whatnot, and she basically said, yeah, good job, buddy. And that's it. So I can understand her being upset. And then he's basically talking to her like, oh, but I always treated you right and always done this and done that for you. Your coworkers are jealous of what we got, so don't let that go. But at the same time, Charles is like, yo, but I love you, but at the same time, like, I'm still trying to see what's up with her. So he's already not starting off well. He's already starting off horribly. He does a little tips of the hat to I want to say his Lost Boys. He copied their hook, or he sampled their hook basically. I'm in love with two women.
Yep.
That thing. Um, but basically he's heavily conflicted, doesn't want to lose either woman. And he doesn't want to choose when he's given the ultimatum. Which is crazy because imagine if we were actually watching the finale of The Bachelor and the homie like, I can't pick, I'm choosing both of y'all. Like what? Excuse me?
Well, I'm trying to think of the rules. Like, did they ever say in The Bachelor, like, yo, you have to choose one? Has anyone ever tried to be like, yo, actually, I'm really big in, polygamy, so like we can both go home. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
I've never really watched The Bachelor before.
Yeah.
Obviously, I watched the other shows that are similar, like Flavor of Love and Brett Michaels. I've watched those, and they've definitely only picked one. You know what I mean? But no, I've never seen any of those shows where like they've just said, "Yo, I'm gonna try and just pick both of them" or something like that. Tila Tequila, she had a show like that too. I remember.
Oh, God, I
Um,
hate her.
yeah, listen, bro. We were spoiled rotten with all those dating shows. So
We
that's
were.
probably why. Well, you're married, so you got out of it. But me, that's probably why I'm so screwed up now. Because I'm like, man, I'm wait for the right one. I gotta stop waiting. I should have been picking. I should have been picking, man. But overall, this is a really good intro. It's something a little bit different
Yeah.
because I think sometimes Charles starts off with like a little bit more higher energy, but it's kind of like, hey, I'm continuing right from where I was at, and it's not supposed to be super happy. It's going to be somewhat melancholy. So I think it's a good intro if we're talking about just song wise, period. So
He's definitely setting the table for the tape. Kind of setting the scene of like what we're dealing with here. Excuse me. I love the song. I love the hook. Like I said, nice tip to the Lost Boys there with the hook. I like the beat. I like the rapping on here. I like what he's saying. I like this is a very well done Charles Hamilton track. Um, like how do I explain it? It's nothing like he's not going outside of any like box that he normally would. It's just something contained in a box, but he's doing it at a very high level, and I like what he does with this. Nothing too crazy. Um, I know we said we wait, but I do want to ask one question. Because technically, there's three women involved in this entire thing,
Yeah,
technically speaking.
yeah.
Without getting into the imposter, and then we already know who the other one of the woman is. It's Rihanna. But like, we're not gonna talk about the imposter. Let's talk about who the ex girlfriend is. Do we know who that is?
No. And honestly, no spoilers, but I don't think it matters.
No, probably not.
Because
You could
I
probably
was
insert any girl, honestly.
yeah, I was racking my brain and I'm like, bro, who could have been? Because I don't think he actually was using someone that was like an actual ex or someone that he was talking to. You know what I mean? But technically he could have, because it could have been a thing where like if he was talking to anyone while he was thinking about doing the awkward series, they could
Hmm.
have been like, yo, I'm your actual girl. Hello, like, what are you
Right.
doing? And then they're like, yeah, I'm okay. Nah, dude, I'm out. You know what I mean? But I I have no idea, no clue. I'm not even going to guess for that because I'm like, yo, I don't even think it matters because yeah, I don't know.
But as a intro, as far as music goes, really good intro. Really like this record. Um, he follows that up with Game Day. I'm gonna be honest. This is kind of where when I was listening to the tape, I was like, nah, this ain't gonna be for me. I don't like the song.
What?
Yeah, I don't like Game Day. No,
That's great. Go ahead, I'm listening.
no, I'm not a fan of this song. Because I've heard this. Let me. I've heard the sports tie-in record better on different records as
Are you
far as
talking about
like
third and goal?
Third and Goal. There's other ones that he's done where I'm like, I feel like he's done a better job of it. What was the one on which Reaper did we do? Field Reaper?
Yeah, field.
Angels and something?
Oh, Angels and Athletics. Soul the game.
Like that one much better. You know what I'm saying? So I like he can do that tie-in, but this one it's a lot going on for me. The raps are good. I like the raps. It's just that the combination of the two isn't doing it for me. And I'm not too in love with the beat. Um, so yeah, it's one of those ones where it's like, I don't need that. It's not for me.
I get you. I respect it. It is, he uses the sample, the "We Will Rock You" chant, the sample. You know what I mean? That's like
Hmm.
iconic, sound in sports, period. So
Absolutely.
if you don't know that song, you know it just because of sports. You've heard it
Hmm.
everywhere, almost every sport, especially like hockey or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, I think I figured it out though. Why I respect that it's not for you. The reason I think it's not for you because you probably never been ready for a bad bitch, man. That's probably what it is, man. The song like it speaks to you, and then it's eating at your insecurities too. You know what I mean? You're like, yo, damn, I really ain't ready for a bad bitch. Who? A bad bitch? You ain't ready for a bad who? He was doing the Mike Jones on you too. Who? You know what I mean? So
And because you still single, you are definitely ready for a bad bitch. I get it. No, I that ties in. I get it. No, that makes total
I'm still waiting. Still waiting. 10 years later, still wait. I'm ready.
sense.
If I make it a 70, I'm still ready. I'm ready. I'm still ready. That bad bitch ain't coming, bro. I missed out. Um, nah, but look, for this song though, serious note, I do like the song. I feel like it's a hype song that would get normally anybody hype in the situation. Charles, looking back at his previous attempt to try and, woo Rihanna, and it didn't really work that well. And then, he has like his inner monologue, his inner, I won't say demons, but people just in his ear saying, yo, bro, you ain't ready for a bad bitch. That's why you thought you could get her, but you couldn't, you can't, you know what I mean? So he's hyping himself up like, oh, I can do this. I got it, I got it, I got it. So most of the song he's talking about, first time he kind of got to meet her and then it didn't work out that well. And then it's like, yo, I gotta go back up to her and finally say what's up and let her know, like, yo, I am ready for a bad bitch. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So he wants to silence the critics and takes another shot at his crush, which is wild because the beginning of the tape, he's already talking to his ex, like, yo, I'm really trying to make this work out. Next song, he's already trying to talk to Rihanna again. I'm like, God damn, bro. Like you didn't learn. You already didn't learn. Sheesh. Um, One thing I will say, I feel that if Charles was like still like on Interscope and whatnot, and this was like able to be like projected more, this project, this could have easily been on MTV. I could have easily seen this as an MTV song.
For
And
sure.
all and also like if Awkward like went a different way, where let's say if he got Rihanna's attention and she's like, oh, that was a cheap project, I guess, you know what I mean? Then what he could have did if this was a single for this was a single, he could have put this out, do a music video, and if he couldn't get Rihanna, have someone that looks like her to kind of play that part and kind of double down on it. But then at the same time, it would go with the tape because they're like, oh, he got a Rihanna look like. That's the point because he's thinking it's Rihanna, but it's not actually Rihanna.
Yeah.
Bro, like I told you, I got a bunch of notes. I'm like, bro, this could have been even crazier. You know what I mean? Overall, like I said, I like the song. Uh, the name Game Day. I was thinking about the old games on PlayStation.
Hmm.
Like there's Game Breaker, Game Day. My brother used to play all that all the time. Did you ever play those games?
I remember them for sure. I wasn't the biggest. If I was gonna play a football game, it was always gonna be Madden. Well, back when they were still being innovative. Um, but I remember playing. I remember Game Breaker, Game Day. I remember Blitz for sure.
Oh yeah,
Blitz was the one.
definitely.
But yeah, I like what you're saying on this. It's a duality because like I know what you're saying as far as like, oh, he was talking like, oh, I definitely want to get my ex on the last track. But at the same time, he even told her like, I think I'm talking to you, but there I am talking to her. And if I'm talking to her, sometimes I think I'm talking to you. So like he's already in this split, what's called. So he's already to me, it's already he's starting to split that universe, right? The timelines are starting to split right there with every decision he makes. So as far as the story goes, it's making a lot of sense. I'm already liking where he's taking us with that.
Definitely agree.
The next song is Humble Beginnings.
So Atlanta with your grammar, enough said, enough touching, enough has been said. I was a catalyst for your embarrassment. Savages asking what I meant. Imagine this, a baby jaguar, last of its kind, raised by lambs, danger in a matter of time. Lockjaw, I grab for what's mine, knowing that you could resent me.
This song, as soon as it comes on, you hear the vocals? Anyway, seriously, now I fucking love how the song always starts off. I'm like, I don't know why. I always like I'll act like the song like I'm dealing with the situation because for some reason I always like make this face like when it comes on like damn. Also, that's that face that Charles has when he has that plaid shirt when he was doing that thing when he had
Yeah.
his that shirt that picture I keep telling you about where he's like that's the that's the image I always have like here we go like oh man. So humble beginnings. Charles is being super honest with himself because he's like it's always about me and getting what I want and not necessarily caring about your feelings. He's
Mhm.
like I know I love you, right? And he says that a couple times in the song. So it's him realizing how selfish he's been in this situation. So it's interesting because we just went from him flip flopping back and forth. So he's back again, basically trying to talk to his ex, saying, "Hey, I know I've been selfish. I know that I keep going back to this person, but I'm really for real. I'm seriously trying to
Mhm.
make this work out. I know I said it before, and can we start again? All that. I'm not going to do it again. Let's turn the page. So it's him just trying to say, hey, I know that it sounded silly. I left you for somebody for a potential relationship that didn't even materialize, but
Mhm.
I'm not going to do that again. I basically I promise I'm not going to do that again even though he says like I'm sorry, but also I'm sorry is something I can't say either. So it's just like for her, I don't know how the ex feels, but it's probably one of those like by this time it's like, yo, you said this before. You already
Yeah.
told me this. You've told me this again and again and again. Like, how many times you want to keep doing this? You know what I mean? So, very I don't know, man. Like I do like the song, but it's one of those things where I'm like, how do you explain it? Because it is a sad song, but it's him trying to make amends. But is he really trying to make amends, or is he actually being what's the word? Um, I'm mad. I'm drawing the blank now. Um,
Just use
what-
synonyms. I'll find out what the word is.
um, basically when you keep lying to someone because you're trying to like keep up something, but then you're like going to. It's like what narcissists do.
Oh,
You're trying
yo,
to.
he's just being manipulative. He's being manipulative.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Thank you. No, actually, what I meant, nah,
He's trying to trick her.
yeah, gaslighting. But no,
Yeah.
seriously, that is
That
the word
is
I
what he's
wanted.
doing
But
though.
yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. That is actually yeah, yes.
Um, so there's a song on this tape, right? That I feel like, and I think you'll agree with me, that's people will universally say, I would say most StarCHaser would say is the best song on the tape, right?
Hmm.
Okay. I'm here to say that after listening to this tape a couple of times over the last week, this might be the best song on the tape.
I won't disagree. I don't know if I want to agree yet, but definitely when I think of this tape, this is one of the ones I first think of. There's this, and then maybe one other song that
It's
I'm like,
between those two,
I think you already know the one I'm talking about. But yeah,
very much so. It's
yeah,
between those two for sure. You know what I'm saying? But as I listened to this tape again, I listened to this, I was like, oh, this song is amazing. This is one of those ones that should be on a lot of people's lists. Like if we're just talking about objectively best songs. Like this is a really really good song. And you're right, it's a song trying to make amends from a person who has trouble making amends and who has trouble with commitment issues. Even to the point where you said, I'm not saying sorry because it's something I can't do, but just take this as an apology. Which is like, depending on the ex, right? It's like some people, you see people in relationships where like this is just who this person is. I know what they're doing now. It's not the right way to do it, but this is the closest I'm gonna get to an apology or a thank you or an I love you, right? And this is what it seems like to him. It's like this is his way of saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, my bad," and she's probably like, "I've heard this before," and that's why he has to go into the hook. I know I said it before. You know what I'm saying? So like I love this song. I love the story that it's telling throughout the entire thing and how it fits into the whole narrative of the tape, right? So I we talked about songs and you talked about a lot about how like you'll get to a tape or a song on a tape where you keep pressing back, back, back. This was the song for me.
agreed. Yeah, but
Yeah,
no, definitely a top tier song on this project. I will admit that.
for sure. Um, they follow that up with Media Takeout.
So with this song, I think the sample is very important. It's I know it's Rihanna. It's once again, obviously, it's a tape that's certainly about Rihanna. So there's a lot of Rihanna samples that we've heard already.
Yes.
This is another one. I know the song's called like "Living a Lie" or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, so I feel like the sample is very important in this song. So Charles is explaining how he feels to his crush. Kind of just like, yo, like you trying to, diss me or act like this and act like that. And this is where, like you said, the parallels get all crazy and he's going into the different dimensions, I guess, because the way because he's not talking to his ex. I know he's not talking to his ex because he's mentioning like, the Hollywood stuff and everything else. And also the song's called Media Takeout. The media
Hmm.
takeout's not going to be for Charles. And once again, we're talking about Charles's character, not Charles himself. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, why would they be looking at some piano player and his ex that
Hmm.
aren't famous. So he has to be talking to like the famous chick. Um, but basically talking about how he feels to the ex or the crush. But he's talking to her like they've already been dating, like they already like got into the relationship. It's solid and whatnot, and then they're
Hmm.
starting to have cracks, and they're starting to have the arguments and everything. Um, and the tabloids have kind of seen it, and basically it sounds like what's going on is Charles has been kind of out there canoodling with other women, or they might have caught him with his ex, and then they're just like, oh well, he's doing this, and that, and they might break up because of it. So it's pretty crazy because it's like the tabloids have already broadcasted the antics that he's already doing,
Hmm.
and I'm just like, well, here's the thing. I don't think he still has met with the with the actual Hollywood crush yet. This is probably the imposter, but he doesn't know it's the imposter yet.
Hmm.
So she's living a lie, and he doesn't know. So he's already like, "Oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that." You know what I mean? But at the same time, you know, you're arguing with me about A, B, and C, and that's not what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Also, this goes back to the gaslighting because it's just like some of the stuff he's saying on there. It's like I'm like, so my thing is this: I'm like, if you're not talking to your ex and you're talking to the Hollywood crush, whether it's actually Rihanna or it's the girl that's the imposter, it's like, why are you like using this defense already? Like
Hmm.
you haven't even talked to her yet. So it's like either you're practicing for the future because you feel like they're going to know about your past and dig up some stuff on you, or the gaslighting manipulation is popping up where it's just like you're already preparing the lies already to be like, okay, I get in this, I'm saying this. If she says this, I'm gonna say that. If you say
Yeah.
this, I'm gonna say that. You know what I mean? So part of me is like the manipulation, the gaslighting starting up, or it's actually the hallucinations, But either way, it's still about him kind of being unfaithful and doing stuff he's not supposed to be doing. I would say overall, this is a good song though. It's a good song.
It's another one I'm cool off. I'm just like,
Oh,
yeah, it's again. Mhm. So game day, I was like, it's not bad because I like the raps, right? So it was neither song is bad. Like I'm not like I just don't want to listen to them. I know I need to for the story part of it, so like the narrative part of it. So that's where I get it's a struggle for me because like I like what he's saying as far as how it completes the story and how each track is basically played a scene. It's a different scene. We're transitioning from scene to scene, right? Um, but as far as if I want to listen to a song and I'm like, I'm gonna listen to Media Takeout, I don't want to. Um, like it's okay. It's not like amazing, not like a blow me away or anything like that. Um, I do like what you're saying as far as like the constant theme so far has been like gaslighting and manipulation so far. Because like you're thinking like, oh, he's learned this lesson. Because like the whole story, the original part of the story is like, oh, he's going back to get with his ex. But then the Hollywood crush, quote unquote, is taking interest in him. But I don't know if it's a crush or not. So like you're not. You didn't learn any lesson. Because like my thing is if it's you, right? Let's just say you dropped a 5 or a 10 song EP about your crush. Let's just use what WWE superstar you crushing on these days? Which one is it?
I'm gonna use one that's like not married or someone that's not really
That's
into.
fair.
Uh, I'll go with a good one, Jada Parker. I don't think she's with nobody, so.
That thing, thing, boy. Anyway, Jada
Well,
Parker, right? Hey, put the strap on her right now. Champion. All the
facts.
belts. I know dudes who are in the rest like, yo, Jada Parker, she nice, bro. What is her move? I don't know. I bet you don't. Anyway, let's say you drop a 10 song track on for Jada Parker, right? A whole ode to her, right? And it's a whole thing, or you play a song at the penthouse for her, and nothing materializes with that. It's like after that, nothing happens from it. Why, if even if she gives you attention after that, why are you even gonna entertain that? Like if you have somebody that actually loves you, your ex in this situation, that you know you could probably get back with if you did the right things and actually showed her some change. Why would you even try to entertain this thing after somebody who dubbed you, after all the work you put in? That's the thing that, as I'm listening to the story, I'm like, I don't know, man. I would just try to dub her back for a while.
Yeah, I do have something I want to say to that. But I don't know if I want to say it now. I might save it for the ending,
Yep.
but I'm
Okay.
I'm I'm gonna look at it like this. Uh, Charles being young, so like when he recorded this, he's probably like 22 or something like that. So still
Mhm.
thinking with the young brain.
Yeah.
Not this one
Yeah.
technically.
The other
You
one.
know what I mean, so the other one. So that's the only thing I can think of. But because now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, now that we're older, in my head, I'm like, yo, why would you do that? That's not even the way that you go about it. You know what I mean? Like if I was to give influence or like some type of advice to someone that was younger, like, yo, man, how do I get her back? I'm like, you're not in the position of power, so you're not going to. Like you have to shift the but anyway, I'm
Yeah.
like, you're on the losing end. So first of all, you have to like tie the score up and then you have to gain the advantage. But you have nothing in advantage. So you can't play that role right now. So
Yeah. Um. what we have next? We have, I think it's the last slice.
Yes, that's correct. Last slice.
Last slice. Samples. Who I think we can now talk about, right?
We can.
Um, Now we know that the Hollywood crush is Rihanna, and that she was seen out with a carbon copy of Charles Hamilton. Um, I think me and you both believe that to be Drake because at around this time, Drake had, I think, not work was out. What was it? What's my name? What's my name was out at this time, right?
Um,
2010 ish.
at least somewhere around that point in time. And if they didn't have a song out yet, it's like they definitely had like pictures of them hanging out
Yeah.
where, it was the thing where um obviously Chris Brown and Rihanna had been over, and then it's
Mhm.
just like, oh well, Drake's out with her. And it's just like, like even like just first pictures of them, it's just like
Mhm.
interesting. So then that just that already did it. So then, like you said, when What's My Name came out, that kind of like solidified it, even though it didn't solidify anything yet. But it's just like, oh, they made a song together.
Yeah.
You already know how people run with that. So
Yeah. And then, I think people would say, and I've heard people say this, carbon copy of Charles Hampton. I see a lot of, there are some qualities of Charles Hampton in Drake's music. They have some similarities in the way that they approach certain things, different melodies, different ways that they sample stuff, and as far as that goes, right? So I can see how that is the comparison being made. On the last slice, he does sample the infamous first Drake song that a lot of people remember, which is what the hell is that song called?
best I ever had.
Thank you. I was about to say you the fucking best. Same thing. Anyway, same thing. Bret Hart. I don't know. Anyway, off the rails. Anyway, he samples that. I like the song. The song is pretty good. Good hook. Really like the hook on here. Like the beat. Like the way the beat kind of rides off at the end. It's a longer song that maybe shouldn't be as long. Probably could cut it a little bit in half, like in half or whatever.
Yeah.
But what they do with what he does with the song is really good, and I like it. It's a pretty good song.
Pass the Dutch around, crash and touch the ground. Grassy, but now what? Touchdown. Accept the joint in this extra point. I can't help but to love you, girl. You are all I need. You got all of me. You watch over me. Fill in the blank if you think you know. Think you know. Think you know. If you don't get it, you don't need to know. Need to know. Yo, gotcha.
I agree. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention this because, of course, he does sample Drake, but the original sample that Drake had sampled was called "Falling in Love" by Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds. I don't know if the Hamilton was like,
Yeah.
"Gotcha." So no, but song's called "Falling in Love." So because I know some people they're sticklers about that. Well, actually, they sampled this and it's really like, come on, bro. Like
I don't like them people either.
yes, thank you. So yeah, come on, bro. Like, anyway, so with this on the last slice, I I did say I do feel like this is when the imposters, or at least the gentleman imposter, is being introduced to the story, because there's some interesting quotes like the gotcha, because in my head I'm like, why is he saying gotcha? You know what I mean? But I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is where this like, oh yeah, I got you because you think that I'm so and so and I'm not, and then vice versa. And one
Yeah.
of the things he says, that's interesting. He says, sometimes it feels great to be a wannabe. And also he says, I refrain from saying who because I made you, which is some pretty bold statements.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you said, I could see like the similarities in Charles and Drake where it sounds completely asinine now, but like
Yeah.
before then it's like, yeah, because they were both emotional, they both rapped a certain way.
Mhm.
Drake was more backpack back then, you know what I mean? And the only difference personally now, but I think it's still believable now because, for example, back then people say, yo, Charles is corny, this, and that, whatever. Drake has always technically been corny, but he was so good at hiding it. So I
Yeah.
think that's the imposter thing too, whatever. And unless you actually knew him, you didn't actually see that. So if someone said Drake was corny, you sound like a hater back then. Like, oh, you're just hating because he's getting girls and he's getting money, he's doing
Yeah.
that, whatever. He's making a song for the women. That's what he's supposed to do, you know. But he's also made some songs for the fellas too. But
Yeah.
obviously, we see what he's going through now, and a lot of stuff he's been doing the last couple of years. It's like, especially with Rihanna, it's like, yo, super corny.
Yeah.
So he's like mad corny. Technically, he might be even cornier than Charles because it's like Charles never like rode waves and copied people's shit. He sampled people's music, but he never just straight up stole people's styles and shit like that. You know what I mean?
The thing about the other thing I'll agree about as far as Drake being more corny is some people think that money can hide the corniness, and it can't.
No, cannot.
It can't. Like, I don't care how much money you make, bro. Like, you cannot hide the fact that you're a corny guy, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being corny.
Yeah,
Just
it's
don't try to pretend like you're something you're not.
right, and it's one of those things where if Drake didn't talk as much as he did, you know what I mean, he could have hid that so well. But like once you open your mouth too much, people they
Mhm.
like you said, you see it. It's like a stain on the shirt, whatever that you can't wash out. It's like chocolate on a white t-shirt. You
Yeah.
can't wash that out. It'll never be washed out. You know what I mean? Like just go get a new shirt, honestly. Um, overall though, um, he also used that Brianna clip at the end, like where he ended up getting punched. But it's the part where she was saying, "Oh, I remember seeing not Blake, Drake read off his BlackBerry, so I'm gonna read off my BlackBerry because I'm a poet, I'm a writer, you know." And then so part of that, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. The song did go a little long, but I think that was him trying to story tell through the music, saying, okay,
Right.
this is who the imposter is. This is who this could be, who that could be, and all that.
Hmm.
So overall, it's a decent song. I'm cool with it.
We followed that up with a little commercial break, called Peter Pads. I like it for what it is, right? It's just like a short little break in between. Um, he's got some good bars on here, man. Every time I get pussy is the passion of the Christ. I think that's pretty fly. That's kind of fly. Um, and the hook's just stupid because it's the thing. I don't have to explain it, bro. If you see Family Guy and you've seen Peter fall and hold his knee, you know what the hell he's doing. It's just funny. So it's a funny little break from the seriousness of that we've been through. So it's cool.
Yeah. I'll just say that I agree with you. It's the commercial break. It's supposed to lighten up the mood, and it's okay. So,
Yeah,
that's all I say about it. So,
yeah. But we do end up following that up with one of Charles's favorite things to do: randomly diss people. Uh, the good guy goes off dissing Chris Brown and Jay-Z.
yeah. So I forgot this was on the tape. I thought this was like a Lucy for
Right.
some reason. I heard this. I'm like, wait, this is on here? I'm like, don't get me wrong, I like the song. So, like you said, like you said, he disses Chris Brown in the second verse. This is Jay-Z in the third verse. Um, I don't know if this really fits on the tape, to be honest. Because in my head, I'm just like, um, we're already telling the story about Charles,
Yeah.
trying to figure out if he wants his ex back or he's trying to go with this celebrity crush that might be the imposter, but might not be.
Hmm.
And part of me is this is where I'm doing headcanon, where I'm trying to figure out why this fits on here.
Hmm.
Um, other than Charles, wanting to diss Rihanna for not Rihanna, diss Chris Brown for, DV, you know what I mean, for what
Right.
he did to Rihanna, and also dissing Jay-Z because I think at that point, Charles just I think at that point it was just cool to diss the older rappers because that's the one thing I was never a fan of when people diss the older rappers just because they're older. Like when they do the "oh you're old," I've hated that. I'm like like have an actual reason. But later on we hear about why Charles has this weird relationship with Jay-Z. But that was I think that was before that. But anyway, this is why my headcanon for the song, why it
Okay.
fits on this tape. Basically Charles being the piano player, he heard about what happened in the Hollywood Crush's last relationship, and he's basically upset about it, and he wants to speak on it. But this is the equivalent of someone like a random person like me or you tweeting their opinion on like Twitter. Like this is just like a blip in the actual stratosphere. Like
Yeah.
this doesn't really matter. It's like him being like, "Oh, you know what? I love this girl, this and that, blah 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 blah, whatever. It's like, bro, you aren't dating her, you haven't been dating her, you're not even close to dating her. So like, why does this matter? Overall, like I said, it's a good song, but like I said, that's my only way of saying this fits on the tape is him inserting himself into the situation. It's like, bro, you're not even involved in this. Like, what are you doing? You know, and it's crazy because I was like that in real life. Because in real life, Charles actually being famous, where he could actually say something that actually where it mattered, and people were just like, "It's a good song, but why are you dissing?" I can see why they you know why he dissed Chris Brown because Charles had his own situation where he didn't actually fight back. But then
Right.
the Jay-Z thing, I can see that being like, "Oh, well, you didn't defend her." So, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you. Thematically, it doesn't make sense. Sonically, it doesn't make sense for this tape. Like you've been telling this very tight knit story, and it's just if I take it from movies, right, and I just move this to like a video game setting, this is like, oh, a side, you want the side quest? Go do this real quick. That's what it feels like. It's like, bro, like you don't have to do this, but you're like, ooh, 20 gold if I do this, so I'm gonna go do it. It's like that's crazy. Um, he's rapping his ass off on here. You know what I'm saying? He's got a couple lines on here. I think he has a I forgot what the actual line is for something about gifts, and he said something Chris missed. I was like, okay, no matter how hard how hard he swings, I'll make sure Chris miss something like that to that line. Um, fun fact, he has a so he say I'm gonna snatch your middle name because that's really Sonic. Fun fact, Sonic's real middle name is Maurice.
true. That is a fun fact. Yeah, I thought it was crazy because I have a brother named Maurice, and then when Chris Brown got arrested for what he did, and then like people had this information out there, I'm like Christopher Maurice Brown. I'm like, oh, Maurice, I'm like, oh, my brother's name Maurice. Okay.
My brother's middle name and my dad's middle name is Maurice. So yeah, apparently a very common name. Anyway,
Very.
um, so he's got some good bars in there, man. And then like the thing with Jay was weird because like you just start off like, oh, you killed all the tune when I was about to start. It's like that's why we're doing this. Like that's how you want to start this. It's just I was like, I can't, don't need it. I'm like you. I thought this was a Lucy, and just based off of how we set the playlist up, it looks like thematically it might have been a Lucy and got added or something. I don't know. It's a weird situation.
Yeah, because I remember, and the picture's still like that. But I remember, like when I would first go and look it up on YouTube, is that, and you've seen that picture where like Charles is on like the like Hollywood Walk of Fame or whatever with the lightsaber. You know,
Yeah,
I remember seeing that and being like, oh, you know, just that's that picture. Whenever I see it, I think of the song. And I
yeah,
remember, I think they changed the cover of it, but anytime you click on the song, you still see that picture.
yeah.
So
Um, now I just want to ask you this: the next song technically is the ending, correct?
that technically, technically it
Okay.
is.
We'll get into it more in a second. But the next song, and we'll just call it the ending of the film, technically, is Reprimanded. Um, this is the song that I basically said is between Humble Beginnings and this. I think we all know how Reprimanded is, what it is. Did we put it on the playlist? Yes?
Yeah, it was one of the first couple playlists.
Yeah, we put it on a playlist. There's a reason for that. It's one of the best songs that Charles has as far as probably love goes for sure. Um, yeah, there's really not much you can say about the shot. It's just really, really great. But we can say how it evolves into the narrative because the first line basically tells you exactly who the imposter is.
Thought she was you with a B in the way. Your secret identity, we met on your B-day.
So it doesn't take too much math and spelling to realize who that is about. It is clearly about Brianna. Um, how do you think that ties into this entire thing now?
It's crazy because there was this video, right, where I think is when I forget where Charles is at, but I want to say it was when it's like around normalcy time
Hmm.
where I remember he was performing live for stuff like for normalcy because he's trying to, keep his buzz out there. People know, hey, this is like my second chance or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, he had like a long sleeve like blue shirt on, whatever, a collared shirt, unbuttoned with like another shirt under it. And I remember he was performing stuff off normalcy, and then he got a phone call or he was calling someone. He was like, "Yo, I'm calling someone," and then he was like, "Oh yeah." Someone said, "Oh, is it Rihanna? It's Rihanna." And then he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm calling my girlfriend." Oh, people like, "Yeah, he's calling Rihanna." Then he's like, "It's actually Brianna." It's like part of me, I was like, "Yo, that shit was kind of whack." Like, come on, bro. You could have just said, "Yo, my girl Brianna." Like, no, but it reminded me of this. I'm like, bro, like, and if you see the two, like, I mean, technically, like, with Brianna, because she's related to Mary J.
Yeah.
Blige.
Hmm.
So it's like, but I don't know, because I don't think any of us know how they actually met. It just they we started seeing them, we
Yeah.
saw the punch, we saw stuff after that, we saw some projects. Like I think they have two projects together,
Yep.
and then it's just like, and then I don't know. But no, from how this works in, it's one of those things where it's just like it's crazy because how what I wrote down because I said Charles realizes all that love he was expressing and this and that. He realized, oh wait, you're not Rihanna, you're Brianna. Oh
Mm.
wait, and then it's kind of like, yo, he already went off the deep end, explaining how he felt about her, and then it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, so what do I do now? You know what I mean? Because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, my ex, and just in case y'all forgot, we talked about his ex like on two songs early on the tape. Never heard from the ex again. So the ex, I'm pretty sure the ex is gone. I think it's safe to say the ex is gone. That's why I
Yeah.
said it didn't matter. Ex is gone.
Yeah. I feel like after
You soft
humble
Y,
beginnings, that was
X,
it.
yeah. Normally you solve for X. No, solve for Y. The X is gone. There's no X in the equation.
So for why?
So um, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, do you still go after the imposter? Now you know it's not, and then now you know how I've been feeling. You know what I mean? And that sample for Rihanna is from Rihanna is now I know. So
Yep.
it's just like now I know that you're someone different. Where do I go from here? So
Hmm.
it is interesting. You know what I mean? Definitely a good song, but I think it's just him realizing, yeah, I gotta snap back out of it and figure out what I'm doing now.
Yeah, it's it in this alone the song is great, right? But when you connect it with everything that's happened previous, it's like you did all this still thinking that you got the girl at the end, right? You know what I'm saying? We talked about how you didn't get her at first, and now you still think that she came back to you, but he's still not who you want. So you know what I'm saying? Do you again dub her, or do you finally be like, well, I've already expressed how I feel about you, and if I was looking at you this whole time and I still was thinking it's you, it still should be comparable, and I still feel like I still have these feelings for you. I should just take the deep end and just take a dive at it. But it's interesting. Um, so if you were to view it as a movie and the ending scene, does he walk away with this girl? Because when I look at it, it kind of reminds me of the ending of Scott Pilgrim versus the World, where first off, one of them girls was underage, but that's a whole nother story. But like those two girls, those two girls in the movie, and the one girl was like, "Hey, yo, man, go be with her. That's who you really want. Go be with her." And to me, it's like he's leaving with the Brianna at the end of the movie or at the end of this film or whatever, because like this is who I'm supposed to be with at this time or whatever. So that's how I look at it. I don't know how you look at it.
So how I look at it is him realizing that he went after the wrong chick this whole time, realized he has feelings for her, but at the same time, he's like, I still think he's holding out hope to be
Mm.
like, oh, but Brianna's right there. She's
Yeah,
right there. And then it's like him just being like, man, I did all this for nothing.
yeah,
Nah. And I think it's just it literally ends on a cliffhanger. I think it technically hangs on a cliffhanger where he doesn't choose, and not that he doesn't want to choose, like kind of before with The Bachelor, the
hmm,
finale. It's more
yeah,
like I don't like he literally doesn't know, and basically he's just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to pick. So he kind of just sits there and doesn't choose.
yeah,
Wow, one of them's waiting, like the imposter waiting, like, oh, is he gonna choose me or is he not?
yeah,
Rihanna is with Drake somewhere, not even like not even concerned with his little conundrum. Like, oh man, she's gonna get upset if I don't pick her. She's like with Drake, like, so anyway.
Right. About to
But yeah,
about to
that,
dub him too.
yeah. So that's how I look at it. Where like he technically didn't pick because he's still focusing on what he's supposed to pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in certain video games where or like Jeopardy or whatever, where they give you like a time where they're like, okay, pick your answer. He let the buzzer beat or whatever and didn't pick.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it.
Uh, so the tape doesn't end, but it then goes on to kind of hand his final thought, basically kind of explaining what we just saw, and then kind of explains where we're at in the story, and then says that we are allowed to view the final three alternate endings of the tape. And like we explained before, the different philosophies of monogamy, polygamy, and monkhood, which is basically being by themselves. Do you have any thoughts on his final thoughts?
I did number one, beats fire again. Like it's one of those things where like there's another reason why I say you can't skip it because even though it's just Charles talking, like doing the narrating, but it's just like the beats are so fire. I'm like, I would listen to like there's certain songs like this I would listen to compared to like actual Charles Hamilton songs. Where I'm like, yo, these are better than some other songs I've heard from Charles. You know what I mean? Even
Hmm.
though it's just him talking over a fire beat. Just because it's so impactful. So with his words and what he's saying, um, like he keeps talking about, Charles did this to himself. Like, he was so infatuated with, the celebrity crush that was her light shining that bright that anyone could have been her. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Which makes a good point where it's like, he did this to himself. If he wasn't so focused on, being with a celebrity, if he probably would have just stuck with the ex, someone that actually loved and cared about him, and actually knows him, because neither of these women know him. The imposter is probably getting to know him. The celebrity crush Rihanna does not know him at all.
Right.
Doesn't know him from a can of beans. I don't know if she knows his name. Oh well, nah, nah. What's your name? Oh nah, don't fucking know. Like for real. But it's pretty interesting because just it's one of those things where like the narrator steps back and says, yeah, like kind of like the Twilight Zone. Whenever the Twilight Zone would usually end, they're like, "Yeah, this person basically did this to themselves." And maybe they kind of like thought about this logically and didn't obsess over this, then maybe this wouldn't have happened. But it's like, hey, this is a cautionary tale that And he also says about love. Some people don't love themselves the way they need to be loved, or they don't love like other people love. So it's one of those
Hmm.
things where it's like, hey, this is just letting y'all know if you're in a situation like this is a warning. Love the people that love you back. So.
Twilight Zone was scary as hell too, because like they would do exactly that. It'd be like, well, looks like our friend here lost everything and now is a bum on the street. Well, good night, folks. And like, yo, you can't just leave on that type of note. That's nuts. Like, at least say something reassuring before like the thing ends. Nah, all right, credit roll. We're out of here. Dun-dun, 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 dun-dun. That's crazy, bro.
That's he said, yo, life be life, bro. All right, later.
Yo, dead ass. All right, I'm gonna holler at y'all. um, okay, so our alternate ending number one, in case I get them both, sleeping pills.
I'm addicted.
All right. So I said with this is technically this is the best sounding ending, but the most unrealistic. Because you just went through all that where you lost your ex, you
Hmm.
still haven't really got in contact with the actual Hollywood crush or whatever. You have this
Right,
imposter. So I think this is what happens with this. Charles, basically dealt with what he did. And he's like, man, I got to sleep on this, man, because I still don't know what I want. I still don't know who I want. And he went to sleep. And then this is the song. He woke up, but he's still dreaming. He woke up like, oh, I got both of them. Yeah. I got them both. And then he's literally like just dreaming this whole time, just like, oh man, somebody help me. Don't really help me because I got two women. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah, somebody help me. Oh man, I'm in trouble. Wink. You know what I mean?
Wait.
So yeah, this is him just like bragging, being like, yeah, I got them both. It's like in real life, come on, bro. Like the whole thing you just did in this whole story, how are you going to get even one of them, let alone both? You know what I mean? Like, bro, no. But it's a fire song. I'm gonna tell you right now, I like this better than any of the other alternate endings right now. Um, but the thing is, I was trying to figure out who the second girl would be, because obviously the first girl would be, I don't think it would be the imposter, it would be Rihanna. The first girl would be Rihanna. And I'm technically thinking that the second girl would have been the ex. But the reason I'm saying that because he mentioned they mentioned in the intro that Charles's ex is a secretary. Charles said on the in this line, he says, she licks the icing off her muffin. The secretary licks the icing off the muffin, and I ain't even trying to say nothing. So I'm like, but also this wouldn't make sense either, because I'm like, because number one, if you got Rihanna, why would you want the imposter? And if you got the imposter, why would you want Rihanna? If you actually accepting her. So I'm assuming you want Rihanna and you want your ex back. Still, you still want her back.
Mhm.
At the same time, she's already been annoyed with you being like, yeah, you're leaving me for this girl. Why would she say, yeah, you know what? I guess so. Yeah, like so that's why I'm like, it's the most unrealistic like ending. It's fun. It's actually fun, but I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah, I think that the two girls are actually the imposter and the ex. Because I feel like he learned his lesson as far as like I'm not getting a Hollywood crush. You have a girl that first of all you have a girl that's interested in you. No matter how we look at it, the imposter does show interest in Charles, right? So it's like I think at this point he at least learns his lesson and says, "Hey, cool, I'm with that." But then like the ex, it's like you said, this is an unrealistic thing. This is all best case scenario for him, and so yeah, he's just like, though these are the two girls, and that's what it is.
Here's my thing. Final thought on it. So imagine him going back to his ex. Listen, I know I said this already. I know I said this already.
Uh-huh.
But yo, this is other girl I want you to meet. She gonna be like, who the fuck is this?
And he's probably like, well, it's not her. It's not the original girl. It's a whole different girl. You said I couldn't talk about that girl.
All right, I'm done. I'm good.
I'm like you. Of all the alternate endings, it does sound the best. I think I like to listen to this one more than any of the other ones. Um, but there's a reason that it's an alternate ending. There's just absolutely no way. Like
Yeah,
I know people who are like in polygamous relationships or have like two women at the same time. This is not how they got it done. I'm just gonna be honest. This is not the way that they got it done.
nope.
Um, so then we go to the next one, which is in case I only get one.
So with this one, I'm like, it's an actual possible ending, but only, and this is like in those video game terms where it's like, oh, if you want, because this game has multiple endings, but if you want this particular ending, you have to play on hard mode and you have to play on this, and this, and play with this character and then do this. So this ending would only happen if he got with the imposter. Like if he decided to be with the imposter, then I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, I can believe this happening. Because once again, you already left the X again. You're not going back to the X. You're not the X is not taking you back, bro. X is like I
The
can't see it.
ex left at the humble beginning. She said, "Yo, I'm not listening. Great song, but I'm not listening to this bullshit you're saying to me right now."
Yeah, literally, I'm like, yo, X is gone. So I'm like, I think this is when he like obviously left the X, forgets about the Hollywood crush and like I'm gonna stick with the imposter. Um, and I think with him, it's like this is him realizing the X isn't the one for him, and then he's okay, either pretending the imposter is his crush, or he's like, you know what, I actually have someone that actually does like me and trying to get to know me or whatever. Maybe she
Hmm.
does need love, and this is the I can give her the love that we maybe complete each other in this sick, crazy way.
Yeah,
Um, but overall, to me, eh, song's okay. Like it's not bad, but for me, I'm like, all right. So, but that's how I feel about it.
I literally these are the exact thoughts that I had listening to this song. Um, this is clearly about if he would have settled. I don't even want to say settle for the apostle. That sounds terrible, but let's just be honest. That's kind of what he's doing because he lost his chance with his ex because of his nefariousm and the crush that he's wants. and he's been thirsting after for 2 tapes now, has no idea who he is. Or if she does know who he is, she said, "Oh, cool," and just kept going on about her way, right? Um, but like you said, I have found somebody that does have feelings for me. This is my opportunity to at least settle down and at least have somebody, have some type of companionship with me or whatever. Um, but like you as well, the song is just it's all right. It's nothing I'm gonna be like, I gotta listen to this again. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I would not shoot. I would choose this as an alternate ending to end the tape. Like if end the movie, like this would be the one I would choose. I'm like, this is a good ending to the tape or whatever. But as a song, I'm like, I'm cool.
Yeah, like this would be like like I said, a realistic ending that I could see where it's like if the story was about, hey, love is really like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, like one of those type of
Hmm.
things where it's like he was so worried about, this girl with the glitz and glamour that he kind of lost what was in front of him, but that's kind of ignoring the ex. But maybe there's some stuff he didn't explain that was going on with the ex anyway, where they're going to break up anyway. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he found the quote unquote next best thing, whatever. So, so I can see that. I get you.
The tape concludes with the final alternate ending, which is in case I end up alone. Now, this is the alternate ending that he probably deserves. after after everything that's happened during this tape and all the different lefts and rights and ups and downs and going to this girl, going to that girl, this girl, want that girl. This is the one he probably deserves of all of them because, like we said, gaslighting, narcissism, manipulation, all of that was happening throughout this entire tape, and just uh, the likelihood of him striking out on all three very high and just ending up alone in this desolate you know what you're basically back to square one. You're basically at the end of awkward one where you're playing that piano by yourself again and it's just going off into the distance and the piano's playing. It's the exact same thing. You're right back at square one. How did you do a big ass circle? You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was. Now, with that being said, I do not like the song.
I
So
got
it's just not I could have done without the song ever. It's just something. It's not like, oh, I hate the song or it's a bad song. It's just like I don't like the song.
objectively, I got you.
Yes.
So here's my thing. I'm gonna say that right now. Basically, with me, I'm like, I'm gonna tell you right now. In case I end up alone, and then in case I only get one, both of them, I could have legit just do without. I could have
Right.
done without those. You know what I mean? So, but with this song, I consider this the canon ending. Like I said before, with the
Hmm.
first alternate ending, where if he got both of them, where
Yep.
he went to sleep and woke up, like, oh yeah, this is him actually waking up. Like no, he went to sleep and woke up, and then like he realized none of this was real. Like the fantasy girl never still don't know his name. There was no actual imposter. He just thought that there was an imposter. There's no
Yeah.
imposter. Um, Rihanna's still talking to Drake and all that, whatever. His ex legit did leave him. The ex actually did leave him. And then there was no, oh, I'm gonna try and get you back. Or if he tried to, she was like, no. She's like, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he actually woke up by himself. And this is like this is like the realistic ending where it's like, and I feel like it was made like this because it's like it's not supposed to feel good. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
said, this is what he deserves for like what he was doing. But he basically goes back to his regular life and understands that he needs to focus on himself more.
Hmm.
And hopefully he learns that because I know so many people in real life where it's like, oh my God, so and so isn't shit, whatever. I need to be by myself and love myself, whatever. And it's like, good for you. 2 months later, oh, me and so, oh, the love of my life. I'm like, you haven't learned anything. You haven't learned a damn thing. So, but that's my final thoughts on it. So,
Um, we just listened to. Would you want to do? Let's rate the tape first, and then we can write the tape of the six, right?
yeah,
Okay.
got you. All right.
Um, but yes, we just listened to the second awkward. I'm not even gonna try to pretend like I remember what the title is because I'm gonna mess it up. We listened to the second awkward. Um, let us know what your review is, man. What the pros and cons are of the tape are, and the character rating you're gonna give it.
Okay. So for awkward two, or well, this isn't awkward. That's the only
Thank
way
you.
I can remember. I thought isn't.
Slow it down, right? Like,
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah. So this is what I said. Pretty good tape. I think it's a good sequel that was overdone a little bit. Like I do agree with the first take on the first awkward, where it's like, oh, it's a cult classic that got shunned and all that. They kind of try to shit on it, what they shouldn't have. But I think the tape would have been. I think I would have rated the tape higher if it didn't have the three endings. Like if it just would have been like the 10 whatever, and then not
Hmm.
the three endings. Technically, I would still want to keep in case I get them both just as a dream sequence or whatever. Because I
Hmm.
do like that song. I wish I could keep that. But if it was like to actually rate this higher, take the endings off. Take those endings off.
Yeah.
Keep the 10. I would have rated it higher. I appreciate Charles trying to make the second movie feel bigger and better because that's usually what you do, when it comes to like a part two.
Hmm.
But I technically think he jumped the shark a little too early with all the multiverse stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
You normally don't get into that to like the third or fourth movie. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
When you're like, oh, we're adding everybody in the movie now. The Rock's in
Yeah.
this movie now. Somehow The Rock's playing Charles Hamilton or some shit like that. It's just like, uh, I feel like he kind of jumped the shark too early, with adding the multiverse and stuff. And then, like I said, with some of these endings, because I think like realistically, the first 10 things, I'm like, okay, um, good, because it makes sense. But then like the extra endings, like, all right, But overall, I'm going to give this a base Sonic. Really good tape. Just overdid it a little bit, but still a really good tape.
Yeah. As someone, as I said previously, that was like, I'm not listening to this tape over, back in the day or whatever. Listening to this a few times during the week and kind of getting the feel of the tape and the narrative of the tape. It's one of the better narratives that he tells like throughout a tape or whatever. Um, as we all know, I'm prone to comparing things to their predecessors. Um, I think this one is a good attempt at re rekindling the magic of the first one, but does fail in certain aspects, right? Um, certain songs I'm just like objectively for me, I'm just like, I could do without. I'm like you. Did we really need all these alternate endings? I don't think so. I don't think we really need them. I would say using your logic, right? Let's just take off in case I only get one, in case I end up alone. Let's get rid of both of those, right? Keep in case I get them both, but like flip, and then let's take off the good guy goes off. Put that where in case I get them both at, and then that goes into reprimanded, and maybe add at the end of the skit of in case you get the both him waking up, because that's basically I'm like you. That's basically a dream sequence to me, where it's like, oh, somehow I end up winning this entire thing, but then like you find out that things aren't what they seem, right? We can go into reprimanded, send us off with counters thoughts, right? Um, I will say that I do feel better about this tape today than I did back then. I do feel better about it. I don't think I'm in a place in my life where I need to listen to the whole tape again, like all the time, right? Because I don't need the narrative thing anymore, right? But there are certain songs that will have you feeling emotional, like Humble Beginnings and Reprimanded are two songs that you need to take with you forever, right? Those are two songs that no matter where you are, you should always keep those. And I liked a lot of other songs on this tape. So I'm gonna go Tails today. I'm gonna go
All right.
Tails because although it is an awkward tape, I feel like maybe it is slightly a bit it was underrated for me. I'll say that, right? I think it doesn't get as much love as what's called as the first one, and it probably shouldn't. But I think people should give that more of a listen to, just in case. Um, Honestly, if there was a character between Tails and Knuckles, I'd probably give it that. But we don't have one, so I'm just gonna go Tails. I'm gonna go on the higher end.
So I will say this. I'm not going to expose it, but you're showing a pattern. I'll just say that.
Oh, what's our pattern? No, I like patterns.
You'll find out later when we get to the next segment. When you're ready for the next segment, let's go.
Did I give them all Tails?
No, no, but we're let me know when you're ready to
Oh,
rank
I'm
them
ready.
all.
Let's go. Let's get to it. Go ahead, lead
All right,
lead us
y'all.
in, brother.
All right. So, um, we have finally concluded with talking about all the six tapes that came out around July 4th, 2010.
Hmm.
Me and Stick decided, hey, let's rank all of those six tapes,
Hmm.
from top to bottom, what we think, from 1 to 6, whatever. So I'll start first. So if I was going by what I think, well, actually, let me name all the tapes
I was
just so
about
you,
to say that, yeah.
sorry. So there's Atlantis and A,
Hmm.
Gynophobia,
Hmm.
Autumn Harvest, L Word 2, 10 Things I Hate About Me, and then today's tape, Awkward 2, or well, this isn't awkward.
Okay.
So for me, I'm going from top to bottom, from number one to number six.
So first to last.
Yeah, first to last.
Okay.
Actually, no, let me do last to first. I'll do last to first.
Okay.
All right, so last to first, I'm gonna start with Gynophobia, Autumn Harvest, Atlantis and A, L Word 2, today's tape, Awkward 2,
Hmm.
and then 10 Things. Those are my six. 10 Things being top.
And how did you rate those? Are you rating those as objective or just how you would like to how what you like to listen to the most?
Technically both.
Okay.
Like I'll give you the breakdown right now. Out of all these tapes, I already knew 10 Things was going to be at the top, but
Hmm.
also it makes sense because out of all those tapes, that's the only one I named Supersonic. So it wouldn't make sense objectively if I'm like, oh yeah, this one is Supersonic, but the other ones I rated this, and that. And then it's
Sure.
just like, I was like, so if you think this is Supersonic, that should be at the top. But even without me looking that up, I was going to say 10 Things anyway. So I
Hmm.
made sure I double checked. I'm like, you know what? Out of all these, I already know 10 Things is going to be at the top. I got to figure out where I want to put these other ones at. Um, and it basically like shaped right how I thought. Originally, I had L Word 2 at second, but I'm like, I'm really only saying that because of some lady's website. And I'm like, I told myself I can't rate it that high just because of that one song. I like a lot more songs on this project, Awkward 2, compared to L Word 2.
Sure.
I grew to love that more compared to Atlantis and A, because I do love Atlantis and A too. But I'm like, I'm giving the L Word 2 the third place spot. So that's how that happened. Autumn Harvest, we talked about the rappy stuff, whatever. I'm like, I like it, but I gotta listen to it when I want to listen to it. And Gynophobia, I remember out of all of those, listening to all of these again, I'm like, that was the one where I'm like, I realized I didn't like it as much as I thought I did. So
Hmm.
that's how I went about it. So
As I shifted over things, looking at it, I think the bottom half was going to be my biggest issue as far as trying to rate these. So at the last spot, I, th- hmm, I think it's Gynophobia at the bottom now because I'm like you. I feel like after listening to, it, I was like, oh, I like a couple of these songs, and then the rest of them, I'm like, I don't really need it as much. I think I'm gonna go Awkward 2 at 5. 4, I'm gonna go Atlantis and A. I think I was really impressed by that because that was one of the other one I didn't listen to as much. 3, I'm gonna go Autumn Harvest. 2, L Word 2, and then 10 Things at number 1.
okay. It makes complete sense. Fun fact: on episode 8, which was Atlantis and A, that's
That's
when
a sick. What are you doing?
I told you I got notes. So here we go,
Okay,
dickhead.
I'm listening.
So episode 8, Atlantis and A, that's when you introduced the tails rating.
Oh,
So
look at me.
that's Yeah, you introduced the tails rating then. So
Shout out to me.
just to let y'all know, from one to 6, when I did 10 Things, I gave it a supersonic. That's the only take both of us agreed where we gave it supersonic. So I'm like, that has to be number one, period. Um, well, this isn't awkward. You just gave it a tails, I gave it a sonic. L Word 2, you gave it a supersonic, I
Yeah.
gave it a sonic, I
Hmm.
gave it a base sonic. So that makes sense for that being your number two.
Yep.
Atlantis and A, interesting because that's when you introduce the tails rating, and you have that higher than Autumn Harvest. You gave that a Sonic.
No, I have Autumn Harvest third.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, either way. So anyway, you gave Atlantis and A tails.
Hmm.
We both gave Autumn Harvest Sonic. I gave Atlantis and A Sonic. Gynophobia, you gave a tails. I gave a Mecha Sonic too. I gave that the lowest rate.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I give it a tails. I might have shit that to Knuckles. If I were to do a rethink now, it might be a Knuckles only because like I was saying, like it has that up and down thing. But I think I leaned over to it because not many people, when we said it, we were playing it, not many people remember it or like we're like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, how do you not
Yeah,
know that one? So
yeah. Also at the time when you introduced Tails, that was episode 8. There wasn't Knuckles yet. So the thing is,
sure,
like, you just introduced Tails, and then I had Mecha Sonic 2, and you didn't want to do Mecha Sonic 2, so you're like, let me do something like kind of in the middle of that.
yeah,
I mean, so
because I didn't think it was quite that rough.
yeah,
But yeah, I feel like I just feel like Awkward 2 is somewhere in between those. We haven't introduced a new character in months now, but like it's like right there in that middle, and there's just nothing there for right now. So I just went for the higher end because I was impressed by some of the songs, especially again, Humble Beginnings. That's going on playlist immediately now. So
I got you. I mean, you already know how I feel about that. I'm like, I get it where we're adding characters, but at the same time, you already know, like we've talked to Charles about that. When we do episodes, the episode's done. You know what I mean? I'm not, and we're being objective. I'm not sparing feelings to be like, yo, I want to give it this, but I want to soften the blow by giving it. No, like
nah,
if you get a Mecha Sonic 2, you're getting a Mecha Sonic 2. You know
it
what I
is what it
mean?
is, big dog.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, with that tape, I felt like, oh, there's technically better tapes out there. Like I said, I
Mhm.
like some songs from Gynophobia, but I'm like, not as much as these other tapes. So
Right.
it gets the rating it gets. So
Yeah. But remember, we're just two guys, man, doing a podcast. Our opinion is thank you all for valuing our opinion, but there's no monetary value. So just if you have a different opinion, take that, man. But let us know what you think about. Did I say take that? That's
you
wild.
did. Yo,
That is wild.
stick did he? Oh no.
Is he? Whoa. Uh, whoa. Um, that's crazy. Anyway, let us know what you what you think about Awkward 2, man. Let us know what you rank the July 4th tapes. That's what I'm just calling them now. How do you rate them? How do you rank them? Let us know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe over on YouTube, StarCHaser Central. We are on Twitter, Star CH Central. You can also follow us on our individual pages. I'm at Stick Around 54, STIK Around 54 on Twitter and Instagram. Mike, where can they find you, buddy?
On Instagram, the Mike Jackson, Mike Jackson. On Twitter, fuck Elon Musk because I'm not calling it X, and just fuck him for fuck him. Uh, Mike D Jackson, Mike D Jackson, Mike D Jackson, 1D, 2 E's. Holla at me. Make sure you guys follow Charles on Twitter because once again, fuck Elon Musk. Yo, fix the damn app, man. Please follow Charles Hampton on Twitter at Charles Hampton. Make sure you guys are keeping in touch with him, um on his YouTube. There we go. The talented Mr. Hamilton, where he's dropping songs. Every now and again he might be adding to, the King Charles catalog. Also, he had a song that came out a little while ago where he's doing the Alien Charles,
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you guys are keeping in tune with that. And sometimes he might be getting back into doing his lives. You never know when that starts. Also make sure you guys are in tune with the blog, enterthehamilton.blogspot.com. There it is.
Yeah, man. Let us know any tape specials, episodes you would like us to do. Um, we're always open to different ideas. We've had some people send tapes our way, say we'd love to see you review this. Again, we're marking them down, kind of keep them in a memory bank and a little bank to eventually circle back to. Um, yeah. And as always, we appreciate everybody for listening, following along with us, and engaging with us, whether it's on Twitter or Discord or in the YouTube comments. We love every comment, and we appreciate you guys. Mike, you have anything for the people before we leave?
Once again, thank y'all for watching another episode. We appreciate all the support, the love, and all that. You know what I mean? And if you got a problem with that, you could, do what Stick said. You could take that.
No, no, no. Let's just not. Let's pretend Stick didn't say that. Now the FBI is like they at my door right now.
They're watching you. They're watching you now. How many
they not
bottles of
gonna
baby oil you got in there, bro? I mean,
they not gonna see nothing in here, bro. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Johnson ain't getting $1 out of me. That's a crazy name for that too. Johnson and Baby Oil. That's wild, bro. Anyway, we're logging out of the StarCHaser Central podcast, man. Where we always encourage you to follow your dreams.
and reach. For the stars.
I know I broke it before, but will you let me have your heart again? I won't let me do that again. I just want you back again. I know I said it before, but can we start again? Calmly hyper, palm tree and